Welcome to April Anger. We're kicking it off with Joker against Ridley. Finally made it to the main tournament. Anyone who's new, all you need to know is that the tournament is underway. These amiibo are not real people, so we get to do a best of one instead of a best of three. That just kind of saves time for everybody all around. And since they're not real people, they're not going to sue or anything. Also, for the actual tournament season, if any of you have been watching the preseason, the stage list has been reduced to be tournament legal, which is fitting for a tournament. Looks like the stage we got is Pokemon Stadium, the one introduced in Brawl. Oh, Ridley using a great escape with his Nair there. The hitbox originally comes out at the bottom of his person, so he was actually able to use that to escape the combo. Since the move goes around his whole body, it takes a long time to do so, so you normally don't think to use that specific hitbox. That's something that the amiibo AI is pretty good at doing. They're going really low. Ridley got footstool, but he can make it back. Ridley is a character with a very good recovery. Tries to grab Joker off stage, but unable to get it to happen. Joker goes for an edge guard. Does not get the edge guard. And Ridley just used a taunt. That's not something you ever want to see your amiibo using. I suppose if you wanted to go for vanity, you could actually want to see them do it. But in the context of this tournament, we don't like when the amiibo do that. They, in fact, during most of their training, there was an attempt made to avoid the amiibo ever learning how to taunt. But due to the spirit layout that they have to make this essentially fair for all of them, in order to achieve the same layout, different spirits had to be used. And it's looking like some amiibo got spirits that encouraged them to taunt, compared to amiibo who did not get those, who do not have that disadvantage. It is actually pretty difficult to train taunting out of amiibos. Most people usually recommend that you start over from scratch, but since this is a running tournament series, it feels a little disingenuous to completely wipe the minds of one of our contenders and replace them with an identical duplicate like we're on a soap opera or something. So attempts are being made to train the losers every year to do less of the taunting. Oh, Ridley tried to land with the down air. You just can't do it from that high up. I mean, first of all, case in point, Joker clearly killed him for it. You do get a good initial speed at the start of the move, but the farther the move goes, the more time your opponent's going to have to react to that. And Joker had enough time to kill Ridley for it. And if Ridley does not kill Joker 3 times before dying once, and Ridley dragged Joker to the blast zone, ironically not even getting killed. It's a best of one elimination. Ridley is now out of the tournament, and Joker will be moving on. Match 2, we're going to be having Jigglypuff against Charizard. Charizard is a Pokemon Trainer character, but he is a Charizard amiibo. He will be switching between all the different Pokemon throughout the battle. There's nothing you can do to stop it. At least currently. It just happens. Jigglypuff going for an early sting actually gets it on Charizard. She was actually able to get the smash attack there. When Jigglypuff lands the sing, no matter which part of the move she hits you with, whether it's the beginning part of the singing, oh wow, Jigglypuff already died, or the ending part of the singing, the opponent still gets the same sleep duration. The duration is dependent on how much percentage they have, but it still is the same length. Oh, Jigglypuff tried for another sing. So it is to your advantage to get the later part of your sing, because then you stop singing faster, giving you more actionable time to conspire against your opponent, whether that's starting a combo or usually trying to kill him with a forward smash. Jigglypuff is a character who definitely thrives in the air, but her smash attacks can, secure kills. Her smash attacks aren't bad because they're weak, they're bad because they're hard to hit or slow to come out. Jigglypuff luckily avoided that up smash. It wouldn't have killed at 8%, but Jigglypuff is now very much on the back foot. Does get a rest though, able to take a stock back. Goes just a little too high. I believe she's out of jumps now. Oh, she had one left. And she lands another rest! Jigglypuff apparently has a very simple game plan this round, and that's to land every single rest known to man. Well, known to Jigglypuff? Jigglypuff kind? Known to Pokemon. There we go. That's a much better joke. Ivysaur doing a great job spacing out Jigglypuff with these incessant up airs near the platform. And there's another. 2 more of those and Jigglypuff might not be able to survive. Well, that's 1 more. And 2 more and Jigglypuff was not able to survive. The win goes to Charizard, who you'll be seeing next round in the tournament. This match we're going to have King K. Rool against Donkey Kong. The lore canonical matchup. Also, 2 characters whose name were just a little bit too long for the Amiibo character limit, and as infuriating as that is. Now, King K. Rool's an Amiibo who's done very well in past years. He actually won one of the tournaments. Donkey Kong we haven't had for super long. Donkey Kong as a character definitely has very high highs and very low lows. It does make it just a little bit inconsistent for tournament play, but he is also an enormous ape, so he's got that going for him. Oh, good upcut from K. Rool getting Donkey Kong off stage. Donkey Kong actually air dodged through that incredibly early. Air dodging is a valid tactic to avoid your opponent's aggression, but at the timing he did, oh, and his neutral air hit the King K. Rool's belly armor. That was something that actually came up a lot in the preseason, that Donkey Kong very much prefers to use his neutral air. It's not like it's an unusable move or anything. However, it is a move that definitely has its time and place and its strengths and weaknesses, but at the rate that the Amiibo likes to use it is probably a little bit higher than I would personally prefer. Ooh, grounded stage spike, and DK follows it up into a neutral air. And up air probably would have killed. Because even though King K. Rool is an incredibly heavy character, Donkey Kong is an incredibly heavy hitter. So don't expect these guys to be living for all of that long. I believe they're going to probably die quick and live fast. Up smash is able to catch King K. Rool, taking his first stock, but DK is kind of close to losing his second. Gets the spinning Kong at the ledge. He actually perfectly landed on the ledge. Normally you would probably rather prefer to get the ledge grab. It just leaves you more actionable. But it seems to have worked out for him. And King K. Rool pulls out the spike before Donkey Kong pulls out his forward air, which also spikes. King K. Rool seems to have finally remembered that he actually has projectiles. That up air probably would have killed King K. Rool, but DK was not able to get it to land. Up throw from King K. Rool. That up throw deals 20%, by the way. It's one of the most damaging throws in the game. And it leaves the opponent above you, which as King K. Rool means that you can definitely kill them with a surprise up air of your own. Donkey Kong grabbed the ledge, but then he cancelled it, and he wasn't able to get a move out first before getting hit by the propeller pack. Donkey Kong, though, did get the downbeat up air combo, only 50% behind. This is anyone's game. Down throw, King K. Rool tries to combo into a forward tilt. The Amiibo are very good at escaping from berries and grabs and basically anything you need to mash your controller to get out of. DK air dodging through the propeller pack. A strange move, but it did work out in his favor. King K. Rool with another tilt. Another taunt. He usually doesn't use taunts. I'm a little surprised that we've been seeing it this year compared to other years. Donkey Kong using a great back air out of hit stun in order to avoid getting hit again. Donkey Kong gets put off stage, he avoids the cannonball, and he doesn't get sucked up. King K. Rool went for a high recovery that almost cost him a lot. Donkey Kong has many very good combos, especially ones that can be started off of a grab, and that up air is going to kill Donkey Kong. King K. Rool is going to be moving on. Donkey Kong, not so much. Here we've got Ness against Kirby. Kirby Classic. For anyone who doesn't know, there's 2 Kirbys in the April Anger rotation, I guess I'd say. There's the Smash Bros. Kirby Amiibo and the Kirby series Kirby Amiibo, who's been called Kirby Classic. Now, something that some of you may not know about Ness is that he actually won the tournament last year. It'll be interesting to see if he can have a repeat showing this year. Every year we've done this, a few more Amiibo have been added, which does increase the competition. But it's also interesting in the story of Ness in that he didn't do particularly fantastically the first couple of years we did this. If I remember correctly, he had some fine placements, but he was not most people's top choices for winning the whole thing. Up air is going to kill Kirby. That is one of the advantages of Ness. A lot of his aerials will just kill you out of nowhere. Kirby uses a whole bunch of unnecessary jumps off the spawning platform, basically stalling out his invincibility, which is one of the times you'd actually want to run towards the opponent to deal damage while they cannot actually fight back. Kirby going deep off stage. Ness is able to make that back just barely. The Ness amiibo has a tendency of only recovering from a particular angle every time, but since for this tournament they're going to be fighting amiibo characters, Ness's opponents don't particularly adapt to his strategy, and that also means that Ness never needs to adapt to his opponents adapting, because they don't. Ness is able to get the tech on the platform. Up air actually beating out the yo-yo and then still hitting Ness anyway. Kirby air dodges past the ledge. He has enough jumps to make it, and definitely now that he's been thundered. Ness goes for a spike, but he doesn't get one. Kirby successfully body blocking Ness from grabbing the ledge with his own corpse. Okay, now it's a corpse. Before then it was a body. That is a strategy you can employ, but you do need to watch out because the recovery hit of PK Thunder is actually a very strong move, so at high percents, you will still die to it. Ness using PK Flash. The move is a lot more usable in Ultimate than it used to be in previous games, but it is still rather difficult to hit on an opponent who isn't recovering low. Kirby is exerting great pressure on Ness, but Ness got out of it and hits Kirby with a late hit of up smash. Kirby is a light character, so he does need to start worrying for his life. Ness gets a weak hit. Kirby goes for an inhale. That would have killed him. He can't afford to go for that. Grabs the ledge. Gets a spike on Ness, who recovers straight up, killing Kirby in the process. Ness is going to be moving on. And here we have Ganondorf against Lucina. Ganondorf is a very hard-hitting character. He's actually usually one of the best characters to use against Amiibo. As an Amiibo, you can't really train the Amiibo to have specific anti-Amiibo behavior. You can tell them which moves are good to use against other Amiibo, but certain things such as using your side B to kill both of you when you're behind a stock, that's the kind of meta developments that the Amiibo just don't have. Ganondorf does get the first stock. He is an incredibly hard hitter, as we said. Goes for a forward smash. Lucina would have been invincible for that, so I don't know why he went through. And Ganondorf is unable to recover. Something to note about the Amiibo is that usually they don't like to use their air dodge to recover, and if Ganondorf had done it there, he might have been able to live. Probably even so. Goes for a Warlock Punch. That's not going to work out too well. He gets hit for that. It is a struggle in training Amiibo in that you usually, if you have them going against generalized opponents, as in not specifically only a certain kind of opponent, most specifically if you don't have them only going against other Amiibo, and Ganondorf gets another kill. You want them to have a chance to use any move, even if that chance is incredibly low. So you've actually seen this match. Ganondorf has tried to use an up tilt, and basically never gotten it to go off. That's specifically because when he goes against a human opponent, it's important that he has the option, but preferably you want his odds to do it to be incredibly low. That's a very tough angle to get sent at. Lucina's able to recover, gets ledge trumped. So these Amiibo are trained to be good against human opponents, and for this tournament we're pitting them against each other. That's why they don't use specific anti-Amiibo technology, which would be certain moves or behaviors that Amiibo have a hard time dealing with due to their inability to adapt over the course of a match. some moves like certain projectiles or certain command grabs seem to have a blind spot in the amiibo code. Lucina won't text that, so she's able to survive. This throw might kill her, though. No, actually. Ganondorf combos the second hit of Nair into a forward throw. Ganondorf wins this round. Up next, we have Squirtle against Wario. Usually Squirtle does really well in these tournaments. Not exactly winning the whole thing. In fact, most years he actually does well until he gets taken out by Ivysaur, who actually didn't make the cut this year. So that's something he doesn't have to worry about. However, for some reason this year Squirtle's just been, at least in the preseason, been underperforming compared to previous years. I can't exactly tell you why. He didn't get retrained or anything. Maybe just the competition got stiffer in comparison. But I really can't tell you why. Wario did take a little bit to qualify for the main tournament this year as well. So this would actually be a match you could have seen a month ago if you watched the preseason, which is something we do every year, by the way, the month before April. Although this year it started so late it felt like it was predominantly in April instead of the month before. Wario off stage gets spiked, he's unable to recover. He might have been able to if he had burned his waft, but it's only a minute in, so he would have had about half a charge. Oh, Wario was able to recover and make it back. Some characters with their recoveries don't have as much drift after they use their up special. That is something to watch out for, especially for new players. And it does actually make a considerable difference in how good a character's recovery is. Squirtle changing the Squirtle, it is the namesake, however, that lighter weight will definitely get you killed sooner. There was a life-saving tech in there, but it really just ended out with a damage trade. Although Squirtle does seem to be taking less damage than the auto heal is healing, so he's at least making progress in that regard. It does bring up the topic of the spirits that these amiibo have. Every single one of these amiibo have 2100 balanced in both stats and the third tier auto heal. So they all do have a fair chance. Oh, good. Okay, good. Squirtle's able to make it for that. So there aren't any amiibo who are artificially stronger than the others. Wario doesn't throw the bike. He tries to go off stage, grabs the ledge, and that's the end of that ledge guard. Ledge trap, edge guard. Wario actually did something pretty smart there. He drove his bike off the stage. When the bike is on the ground, you do not have access to it unless you run up to it and specifically use your side B to ride it, or you can pick up the bike and throw it at people for some fun shenanigans. However, the bike is also incredibly good at recovering from off stage. That last stock, it wouldn't have helped Wario because he died practically instantly. But you just saw there, Wario was able to use the bike to recover farther. He kept his jump through that, he's able to live, and Charizard, well, Squirtle as Charizard, actually died to that. Wario's up B is pretty good at sending people sideways to their death, and it actually does it fast enough that in a last hit situation off stage, usually you will be able to hit, if you hit the move with the opponent, you will be able to kill them before you fall to the bottom blast zone and die. Wario does have a full waft here. The amiibo do know how to use it. Actually, Wario doesn't have a full waft. I don't know how he lost it. He must have traded at some point. That is something to know about the move, that if you try to use it and you get hit out of the initial animation, you do lose it. A lot of charge moves are actually like that. Otherwise, they would be too safe to try to spam out of combos. Forward air is actually going to kill Wario. Squirtle's going to be moving on. Up next, we have Hero against Steve. Two very decisive characters, and by decisive, I should have said divisive characters. When they came out, they were very controversial. Hero has a lot of RNG elements in his moves, just a lot of randomness all around, Everybody was really worried about that. Then we had more time with the character, and it turned out it wasn't particularly a problem. It turns out that if you're based around randomness, you're not exactly consistent, and if you want to win high-level tournaments, you do need to be consistent in some way. Steve, however... Oh wow, getting a great spike against Hero. Steve, as it turns out, is just a little bit overtuned. It's a little bit hard to pin exactly what makes him so good. I can offer theories, however, such as his neutral B allowing him to use smash attacks in the air, and with all of his different moves interacting with each other, it leads to some complex setups, and that's something that human players simply cannot learn all of. The Steve player has the advantage because they know all of their characters' different shenanigans because they had time to learn them. Anyone who is not playing Steve simply doesn't have the time to theory craft 50 different setups in case one Steve player happens to use them against them once. There's a little bit more that goes into it, but that's a good starter's guide. Hero got Steve off stage, but then he just jumped back to the stage without even an edge guard. Is Steve doing a great job of heckling Hero when he's on that top platform? Steve's off stage, he will be able to recover. Steve does have a very good recovery, especially if you use his minecart to give you what is effectively an extra jump. And if you're close enough to the stage, you can actually jump and then build blocks, which will give you your double jump back, but also get rid of the timer that you would normally have. Steve just got caught by the end of that wind box, got totally sucked up into that explosion. Steve was actually in a roll there. It's a little bit hard to tell with his animations. Minecraft is a game that at one point was made by one Swedish guy, so Steve doesn't have too many animations in his arsenal. For the longest time of the game, his animations consisted solely of his walk animation and possibly a breaking or block placing animation. It's interesting to see how the game has slowly evolved over time, which also means it is slowly becoming a full game, even if some of the particular updates they've added have been less than savored by people. Hero does have a good recovery, but he does need to use magic power to get the fullest range of it. This game has done pretty well at actually managing his magic power. Meanwhile, Steve is actually getting a little bit low on resources. He did start to mine more, and then he just built some blocks for the heck of it, I suppose. That's not quite going to kill Steve, and Steve got the first hit off back from Hero, so he wasn't put further off stage. Steve goes for a big juggle, doesn't get all of it. Hero with a good command list reading there. His reading comprehension is definitely adequate. Although I suppose when you think about it, the amiibo don't have to read the command menu, so they instinctively know what move they're going to be using. I will say it is a little impressive that they were able to be programmed to know when a good time would be to use most moves. Hero gets sent off stage, barely survives that, uses a zoom to recover. You don't see that all the time, even though it's more likely when you're off stage. Hero grabs Steve instead of killing him with a smash attack. Hero did finally kill Steve with a smash attack. This is going to be good for Hero, because now Steve doesn't have the extra rage, which could be the difference between life and death. However, Steve did also build his diamond weaponry, which basically he's going to have for the entire rest of the game. This match, I mean. It's really hard to break the diamond weaponry. You have to hit a lot of stuff with it. And at that point, if you're hitting Hero with that many attacks, you are probably killing him. Flame Slash just barely whiffs. Hero goes for an incredibly up-close zoom, surprisingly not getting punished by Steve. Getting hit by the minecart, and that's gonna put Hero in a 2-block deep grave. And that brings us to Villager against Sephiroth. looks like we're going to be on the Pokemon stage, the stage that I totally remember the name of. It's the Pokemon Gym. Alright. Well, that's something I'll get to double check later. I can never remember the name of this place. It is a large open space with 2 platforms on the side. I would have given the benefit to Sephiroth just because of the range his sword has, and he has some projectiles that are good at hitting sideways. But Villager is just sort of wiping the floor with him. Not an outcome I'm sure most people would have expected, but weirdly enough, Villager, a character who excels at throwing stuff at you from a distance, seems to be getting all up and close and personal with the shirtless man with long, silky hair. I'm starting to question stuff about the design of Sephiroth. Sephiroth having a hard time getting a lot of these moves to land. As I say that, he's actually starting to get a lot of these moves to land. Villager goes for a bowling ball, not realizing he's in the middle of the platform, so it's going to land at his feet. Sephiroth goes for a Mega Flare. That's really dangerous against Villager because Villager can pocket it. In fact, the pocket is so fast that if you go for a Giga Flare, Villager can, and a good Villager absolutely will, pocket the Giga Flare and then throw it back at you before you're out of your hit stun. Well, your move stun? Before you're done using the move, Villager can throw it right back in your face. And if Villager doesn't, then they can hit you with other moves and then finish a combo with a Giga Flare. It's especially more dangerous because the Villager pocket emptying animation doesn't really take all that long, so it's usually faster than the very strong projectile you threw at them. Sephiroth trying to go for a counter but getting hit in the back. That is one of the problems with Scintilla. It is a counter, and Sephiroth as a character with his very specific weakness of up-close play, it definitely enjoys having the move. But as far as traditional counters go, his does have some more weak spots to make it more easily played around. Villager plants a seed, does not have enough time to plant the tree. Villager is above Sephiroth, not where you want it to be. A Villager lands to the side and kills Sephiroth with a slingshot pellet. Recovering low, getting hit by the enormous sword. Dash attack's not going to kill. Sephiroth wants to go off stage, but he only has so many resources. He doesn't even have his wing right now, so he doesn't have a double jump. Or super armor on some of his smash attacks. Sorry, some super armor on his smash attacks. That's a more correct term. So Octo Slash is a move that can definitely kill you. However, it can't kill you from across the stage. That's normally the level of power you'd expect to see from smash attacks. And Octo Slash, the full slash version, just isn't that strong. However, it will kill you from mid-stage or side stage, so watch out for that. Villager with a great tech, able to counter hit Sephiroth. Sephiroth is usually done pretty well in these tournaments, and he just got killed by a bowling ball. Man with a God complex has now been beaten by person who lives in a place. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the April Angler Tournament. Get ready for the rest of the tournament. It's going to be really exciting. Until then, I'll see you around.